Okay, Alberto, here we are with your release view. You've done a really nice job with this video angle for me. It's beautiful. I'm going to be able to see exactly what I need to see from this rear view of your hand. Okay, let's turn this video on and watch in regular motion. I think you'll be able to tell yourself from seeing this, if you haven't already, what's happening at the bottom of the swing. Let me ask you a question. If you look right there, do you look like, in my opinion, and you take a look, do you think like you're really putting your fingers through the ball? What I'm talking about is through the ball, or is it just kind of coming off your hand at the bottom of the swing with not enough on it? What I'm going to show you now is a little slow-mo. This will help you out. Okay? It's a nice ball. I had a good strike here. So it's going to come back in slow-mo. I'm going to help you out here. Here we go. Driving that right knee, like we said in that rear view, that full rear is beautiful. Here we go. Now watch what happens right here. See how it just kind of falls off your hand, buddy? It just kind of lob, boom. Now, if we had a towel right there at the foul line, maybe 6 inches over the foul line, you're going to crash right into it. Look how short that is to the foul line right there. Now what that creates is a lack of rotation off your hand. So if you're a little bit of rev challenged, you know what we call RPM rate, which is the revolution speed of your ball. And that's all imparted by what your hand does, which creates a revolution rate, or they say rev rate. So I would say right now that in as many years as I've seen these, your rev rate's probably 190, 200, and you're a stroker. And a lot of times if you're a young guy and you might want to get a little bit more on the ball, you see how the ball is rotating in a good direction. You have good axis of rotation where that white tape is. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But what I want to see you do is to get your fingers, and you got to work on this a little bit. Let's take a look at your wrist position. Okay, let's draw some lines here for you so we can see what's going on. I'm going to draw an angle. From here to here, we've got kind of what we call a weak wrist, kind of a broken wrist. We should keep this straighter. We don't want that broken. You know, a lot of times we talk about wrist devices. I don't want you to worry about wearing a wrist device, but we got to keep our wrist in a little bit of a firm position here. Okay, not cupped. The contemporary teaching is we don't want to cup the wrist at the bottom, but we don't want to have it broken quite so much. Now, as we come in, every great bowler is going to find their fingers more to the inside of the ball. If these were your finger holes here, this is where we would want to see your fingers. And if you look at rear views, and sometimes you go to YouTube, ESPN, rather than have your fingers out here way out to the outside, out in this parameter, okay, we need these guys to be more on the inside of the ball, okay, for a stronger leverage position over in here. That's a hard job. You're going to have to really work on this. So what we got to do is we got to work on keeping our thumb a little bit more to the right at the exit point, right there. You got your thumb a little bit dead straight. What I want on the downswing is for you to rotate your fingers more left to the inside of the ball. Elbow in, okay? And your fingers have to be in. And that's really caused, you know, just like I said earlier, a little bit of lack of power on your release point. Here again, you're in a great position with your ball. Actually, the ball itself near your ankle, which is okay. But you got to roll that arm more with your fingers back behind the ball and slightly to the left. Let's draw you another line here so you maybe get a little bit better understanding of what I'm talking about. Let's split this ball in half. Okay? Okay, vertical line. And then we're going to draw a horizontal line straight across here. We're going to split this ball into some sections. Okay? This is section 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do I want these fingers? I want these fingers down in this section, section 3. Okay? Where your finger's going to be lower under the equator. Okay? So I want those fingers to be low. Down in this quadrant. Right in here is where your fingers should really be at the release point. That's very, very important to give you a lot more heavy ball roll. Okay? Now, I'm not sure about your grip. It looks to me like, you know, there might be a grip issue. It's hard for me to say. But usually whenever I see that, it looks like you're just flying out of the ball too quick. Now, in my years of seeing this motion, what you might want to take a look at is obviously tape in the thumb hole, or it could be something like your thumb hole reverse pitch might be causing it just to fly out right there, and that gives me a little bit of concern right there. See, because what happens is when your ball comes out, your fingers should really take that ball and rotate it. It should have almost a full half of a rotation around. In other words, you want to see that go around the ball. See if I can free draw here for a little bit. Right here with your release, you should really be able to see your ball do a little bit of a, like I said, a little bit of a turn. Okay? A little bit of a turn. It should probably head in the direction, obviously, of like this. Going around with your fingers rotating. So you're just kind of dropping it out, and your ball's not really spinning or taking a rev off of your hand. It doesn't get any kind of a rev at the release point. And this is something that you really need to work on, like I said earlier, to get you some better ball roll. See, it's kind of laboring. It's got, let's just kind of see here. We can pretty much, I can count with your inserts how many rotations you get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe 13, 13 and a half, maybe 14 rolls or revolutions before she gets to the pins. And that equates to about a 190 or 210 rev rate. Okay. Now your white tape on here is obviously your positive axis point. It's a wonderful position. It's what we call 45 degrees of rotation. You've done a wonderful job. Okay, if we split the ball in half again, here and here, horizontal, what that tells me is where that tape is here is halfway between the edge of the ball and the center line, and that's 45 degrees of axis of rotation. Now, it's not too confusing, but just take it from my word that that's a very, very good ball roll position. Ball drillers, we can set you up a ball, many bowling balls very, very easily when you have this type of a release and this type of an axis of rotation. Okay, so let's watch your hand come through the ball. I'm going to put you in, actually let's go back and put you in regular speed. I'm going to take you off of slow-mo. Your ball makes a nice move. I like your motion of your ball, the direction of your ball off your hand. You get the ball out nice and clean. It's just a little bit short down at the bottom, and I want you to get your fingers more underneath the ball. Now you might want to do a drill. You might want to go up to the foul line and take a one-step drill and take your thumb out of it. Maybe take your thumb out of your ball, or a lightweight ball, just to feel like that you can drive that hand underneath the ball at the release point. Okay, a little more powerful position to give you a little bit harder and stronger ball roll. I love your leverage position. Let's talk about one more thing here. Right here is okay with your left knee, but right in this point, a little bit too stiff. A little bit too stiff up in here. Okay? Leverage is going to come, and the pros are going to have this angle with their knee here, a little bit more here, and here. A little bit more flex. That's what I want to see on that left leg. And that'll also get you lower. Okay? Think about it. If this is going to get you lower to the line, when you come in, you won't drop down. So it's just like falling off your hand off a shelf. Boom. And that comes from a lot of your leg not being a little bit more bent, okay, for a leverage position. So I think that's going to be a couple of things that you should work on. You have a nice release. Hand position's a little bit weak. And once you clear that out, do the little drill, I think with the thumb out of the ball, you're going to be fine. I love your direction, and I like your flow and your tempo. Okay? Alberto, you got a great game. Hope you've enjoyed this video. We'll keep in touch. And thank you again for sending me your video, and I hope you've enjoyed this analysis. Talk to you later. We'll stay in touch. Okay, Alberto, let's review what we talked about in your video. Let's go with your side view first. Remember, you had really great posture. Back is nice and tilted. You had good knee flex. But the big issue I had was with your timing in your second step. Step one is a great move, nice and short. But in here, you drop the ball way too soon, getting the ball right over your right knee. Where do we want it? We talked about this. 1, 2, elbow over the knee. So let's clean that up just a little bit, the early drop. You have a stiff third step. If you remember, 1, 2, 3 was too much of a stiffness here. Let's get that flexed a little bit better, all right? First step, second step, too stiff. In other words, you were coming up, nice and low. Remember, like we see on the Pro Bowlers Tour, don't have that left arm too low halfway into the swing. We want that left arm straight out. If you go to the Vice poster, maybe in a pro shop, you'll see this position a lot with Chris Barnes, where you're here. Let's get that left arm up a little bit higher. Fourth step is great, looking good. You have good posture at the finish position. Let's look at the rear view a little bit. Remember we talked about your shoulders were a little bit, that right shoulder just a little bit. Get your right eye in line with your right shoulder, and like you're shooting a gun or a bow and arrow. Get you in a much better position. Here's a big issue that I had with your direction of your steps that I saw from your rear view. First step was great. Second's too far of a crossover, okay? What we're looking for is step, right foot in front of the two level. I want to drop, keep your body from really washing out too far to the left. I really love the flow that you have in your swing. Also, when we get up to the foul line, what I want to see is that right leg clear out, okay? Get that right leg to clear out a little bit stronger rather than it blocking you in here. All right, so there's your rear view, your side view. Talk a little bit about your release. It looks to me, buddy, like you're getting a little bit of a drop at the bottom of the swing. You know, right on the foul line, I don't know if that issue is a little bit of bowler's tape, maybe something to do with your reverse pitch in your thumb. I'm sure you got a great ball driller, but take a look at that. Let's put a towel over the foul line and make sure that we don't hit the towel on the release point. Another thing, in your hand position at the bottom, you're getting really weak. Your wrist is breaking down. Okay, imagine the ball's got an equator. Let's get your fingers more up under the ball and a little bit more to the inside. Here's where you're at. You're coming in broken and on the side, loses, you know, really good power and roll on the ball. All right, I think everything looks pretty good in your game. I appreciate you sending me your video. Tell your friends if they want to send some, I would appreciate it. We can stay in touch on my Facebook also. All right, buddy, thanks again.